You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I'm joined today by Brad Hunt. Yep. We're getting ready for our archery season. It's coming up. We've been shooting our bows like mad. We're feeling really good about ourselves right now.
Yep. Yes.
Really dialed. I'm shooting like lights out. It's been great. Brad, too. And today we thought we'd go over some of the stuff that we're picking up, that we're learning, which right now, Brad's going to talk about walkback tuning. Before we do, I want to remind you that we're doing huge giveaways right now at Stealthy Hunter.
Yep.
And a big giveaway right now at Go Hunt. If you shop at Go Hunt, if you shop at Stealthy, either one, you're entered to win a massive big Hunter prize package.
Yep.
But everybody wins because there's big discounts also. Use the code GRITTY at Go Hunt. You get the maps for essentially $30 because you get a $20 gift certificate to the Go Hunt gear shop. You can get $50 off the $150 price of the Go Hunt Insider
$500
membership.
Gift
cards. And then you win bows, arrows, and all kinds of other stuff as well.
Yep.
You just got to go over to Go Hunt and shop, type in the code GRITTY, and you're entered, and you get discounts. Same with Stealthy. Yep. His package is pretty big. He wants everybody to go to Stealthy and shop this month. You have now, between now and the end of the month, get all their killer supplements, but also their glassing pad, rifle cover, all that stuff's over there at Stealthy. The prize package includes bows, arrows, Stone Glacier pack, Laponia boots, crispy boots. Yeah, Western Hunting Summit pass, $1,600 bucks.
$300 to their Stealthy shop.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot over there. So the details are, we got the details on Stealthy's page. You can check it out over there. But
yep.
All you got to do to be entered to win is just use the code GRITTY over there, and you get a discount site-wide, 10% off at the same time. So everybody wins. So check that out. Brad, tell us about walkback tuning, why it matters, and how to do it.
Yep. So on one of the previous podcasts, Brian talked about knock tuning. I would go with that first, but the walkback tuning is really going to bring, you'll really notice it when you're shooting your broadheads and your field tips and you're walking them in together. It's just going to make your accuracy so much better. So what I mean by walkback tuning is start whatever you want. I usually start at 20 yards, and I will shoot, make sure that my arrows left and right. I'm not really necessarily worried about where I'm hitting up and down as far as my sights go. But I want to make sure that I'm shooting where I want to, left and right wise. I'll shoot at 20 yards, go back to 30, go back to 40, and each time I'm going back, if I am shooting a little bit left or a little bit right, I will walk my arrow rest into there where I'm hitting the center every time. And you're talking very small, just micro adjustments. And I'll do that as far back as I can get. I usually try and get to about 80 yards, and I will really just walk that in. And what that's going to do is really allow your broadheads to be hitting exactly where your field points are. And it doesn't matter if you're jumping back and forth. Your rest is going to be set up to shoot both of those. Your accuracy will go way up, I promise.
So I'm still confused. So you shoot an arrow at 20.
Yep.
Okay, let's say it hits dead center.
Yep.
Then you step back how far?
So I will go, like I said, I'll go 20, 30, 40, and so on. And say between 20 and 40 yards, I get to 40 yards, and say I am shooting just a little bit left, like I've got a consistent group left. It might only be an inch, maybe 2 inches. What I will do is I will just slightly move. So again, we're talking if I'm shooting left, I will slightly move my arrow rest to the right. And I will do that at 40 yards until I'm hitting dead center there. And then I will back up and go to 50 yards.
I think what helps people understand is just an example that's just insane.
Yep.
You shoot at 20, you hit dead center. You go back to 50, you shoot, and you're 18 inches left.
Yep.
Okay, you're hosed. Like, why is it shooting? It's the elevation is perfect. You're sighted in, up and down, fine. But for some reason, when you're at 20, it shoots center, and the further back you go, the worse and worse it shoots left.
Yep.
It just gets worse and worse. The cause of that generally is that your string and your center shot on the string and the rest are not lined up.
Correct.
The sight is too far left or right.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And you can get, and I think you have this perfect example on your bow. You paper tuned it, and it was shooting bullet holes.
Yes.
Perfect dead center dot. But when you went and shot at 30 yards, you were way right or left.
Bad.
Almost a foot.
So even though it paper tuned and shot through paper, the center shot was so far off that the arrow flew straight, but it was impacting further and further left.
Yep.
The further back I got from the target. So I had to move the sight, the rest back into center line of the string, get it in there, and then walk back tune. Shoot at 20, dead center. Step back to 50, I'm left a foot.
Yep.
We moved it back to center, did it again, I was left 3 inches. Moved a little more to the right, 1 inch, a little more to the right. Now I'm like center and center and center. No matter how far I go back from the target, my arrow is left and right is perfectly up and down at every yardage.
Yeah.
So that's a walk back tune. It addresses the left and right of your arrow rest being off center.
Yeah.
And there's a certain degree that you can be off center.
Yeah. And
that
I mean,
you need to be.
The best way, too, is you can kind of check and see is like if you hold your bow, between your legs here and your bubble is level and you got your rest, like on the hamski, it's not as easy because it doesn't raise up until those limbs are loose. But on like my rest, you can flip it up and it's in the up position. You can look, okay, I'm level, look down your arrow and make sure it kind of matches up with your sights as well. So you're basically going from string to arrow to rest to sights, and it gives you a pretty close center on your rest. It's not perfect, but it just gives you a quick idea because you can tell if my arrow is pointing way to the left at the tip of it, you're obviously going to know right away that your center is not correct on your rest.
Yeah. But it's a powerful tool. Everybody should do it because I know a lot of guys who post up and they're like, man, I'm so good at 30 yards, 40 yards. And then they step back and they're at 70 and they're always 4 inches left at 70. And they're always like 3 inches left at 60. And they don't realize that they're grouping left. So because of their tune on their bow, they think it's them dropping their bow arm, pulling, doing something, torquing. And so they move their sight. And they move it left to follow the shot.
And you'll find this. You'll continue to move your sight
and then
left.
at 80, it's like, okay, I'm closer to center a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah.
And now when you come back up to 20, now you're all wrong the other way.
Yep. And I've witnessed this with guys is they don't do the walk back tune with their arrow rest, and they'll continue to move their sight. And no matter how much they move the sight, they still continue to be shooting left or right. It's just the way that arrow is coming off of the string, it really affects where it's going to hit. And so that's where the walkback tuning is, especially if you're shooting fixed broadheads, because every fixed broadhead is going to plane a little bit. I mean, they're not as consistent and accurate as a expandable. Just there's no way around it. But
you have a big, basically metal fletching on the front.
Right. And, some shoot better than others, but even on those ones that shoot really, really consistent to your field tips, you still got to tune them. And the best way to do that is walk back tune because your field tips and your broadheads will hit consistent.
So we both know a lot of people who obsess about paper tuning.
Yep.
Okay. And they're like, okay, man, it's got perfect flight, bullet holes through paper. Yet they're quite off as they shoot, especially throw broadheads on and things go off. A lot of times, again, even though you're flying through paper perfectly, you are not. Your arrow is your sight is your arrow rest is so far offline that you're destined for failure.
And paper tuning is a great starting point.
That's what I was going to say. Is paper tuning is useful. It's a great place to start. But I've had bows that don't paper tune well that I just kicked butt with.
Yeah, right.
That shot great. Yep. And so I think what that tells you is paper tune is less important. I mean, if you're shooting well, who cares if it's paper tuning?
Yeah, right.
If your broadheads are flying good. So one of the ways that you can do that, let's say you don't have paper, you haven't paper tuned at all, you can just walk back tune your setup.
Yep.
And see how well it's working. That is kind of another way to verify that you have good flight is if it's flying straight, right?
Exactly. And you'll notice too, like once you shoot enough, you can kind of see as your arrows are coming out, you can kind of see that they may be pointing one way or the other as they come out and where they impact. And you kind of know, okay, shoot, it's coming out a little funny, cocking to the left a little bit, my fletchings are to the right. If you bring that arrow rest into the right, it's going to kind of create, or it'll basically, what will happen is you move that to the right as your fletchings are kicking right, it's going to straighten that arrow out, and then you notice your impacts are going to be a lot more consistent and better as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, makes a huge difference.
Yep.
So just to summarize, a guy has his bow.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do a walk back tune. Step one is
I would look just like this, looking at my
alignment,
string, arrow,
rest,
and then my
pins,
sights, and then at the end of my arrow, my field tip, kind of seeing, because you'll notice if your tip of your arrow is kicked one side or the other, you need to fix it.
So visually it looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next step,
then I would go to 20 yards. Say I'm kind of sighted in at 20 yards, whatever, and I will shoot and make sure that my left and right are hitting center where I need to be. And then I will continue to move back. Repeat that at 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards.
And if you're off left, you'll move it right.
You'll move it
your
right.
Rest right. If you're off right, you'll move your rest left.
Correct. So all you're thinking about is your rest is right here. If you're hitting left, think about, I just need to move my arrow back into alignment on the target itself. So it's not like your sights. You're not following your arrow. You're going away from your arrow on the arrow rest.
Yep.
So
nice.
Yep.
All right, folks. I hope you got some useful information out of there. Google walk back tuning. Look it up for yourself. Get a little more detail on it if you need more explanation. We just thought we'd share what we're kind of learning and going through right now. Check out our films. We've been dropping films. Bear series, pretty cool. Let us know what you think there. We do giveaways on every video if you leave a comment, and you can get entered to win. Like and subscribe. We're at like 91,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is
starting to push that 100,000.
We're the slowest growing YouTube channel on planet Earth, but we're almost to 100K. That's going to be cool because we get a big YouTube plaque. So if you haven't subscribed, go do that. And again, thanks for tuning in. Check out our partners down below in the description field of our videos. You can get great deals and discounts from all of our partners through our affiliate codes, and it supports what we do. If you like what we do, we really appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and stay gritty.